Selling and whatnot. It's not always easy. If you're looking to get into the sports space, the breaking space, it doesn't even have to be sports. It could be Pokemon, um, Dragon Ball, Marvel, DC. We've dabbled in most of these. We haven't really done any Pokemon selling and whatnot, but we've made most of our money doing baseball and Marvel with DC now, with the license of DC being uh, belonging to Upper Deck. Upper Deck losing the Marvel license to Topps. We'll get into that in a minute. But this isn't a video meant to scare you away or bring down your hopes. This is just a hard look at being a seller on Whatnot and what it takes to become a successful seller. I'm still building my Whatnot brand. We have we have a few thousand followers, but it's nothing crazy, especially when you look at some of the biggest Whatnot sellers. But so here's the breakdown of why breaking on Whatnot could be a challenge. And this is really breaking anywhere. We're gonna look into Drip Shop here. We just set up an account with Drip Shop. We haven't ever sold a Drip Shop. I know that there are plenty of success stories there, so we're gonna look at that and we'll do a video on that in the near future. But Whatnot is a place that I've sold on for years. We made a video previously um, about the $60,000+ that I've made on Whatnot over that time as a side hustle. Um, this video is more kind of centered on if you want to sell part-time or full-time, probably more toward the full-time, but part-time too, because you have to be very aware of the risks of breaking cards. So the screen I have right now is my seller hub with the shows I have currently scheduled for this week, and then the Whatnot card show number 7 is coming up at the end of October. Whatnot does a cool thing where if you sign up early enough, they give you a little cool gift package that you can use to advertise and have on stream. Usually there's like a little card stand. Sometimes they send out mats. Whatever the case, that's coming up. But so for this week, I currently have a 4-box break of Panini Prospect Edition, Pick Your Teams, and a um, half case break of Boys of Summer, which is 4 boxes, along with an additional loose box of Prospect Edition to try and Boys of Summer has 8 cards per box, so a half case is like 30 cards. People are gonna skunk. But with Prospect Edition, you add another 6 autos to the break, and opportunities for people to get hits, so that you don't have to supplement cards into their packages. Which, if they don't hit in your break, you need to send them something. Sometimes people send like wristbands or what have you. But for me, I like to try and send, if I can, like a numbered card, serialized card that matches with the team that they bought. I don't always have a card for the team that they bought, but that's what I try to do. A numbered card or like a base auto. Something that won't cost me too much and will make them feel like it wasn't a waste of their money. With that said, it is essentially a form of gambling, so they should be aware of what they're getting into. You should be aware of what you're doing. But I try to make everybody whole if I can. So these are the shows I have. I want you to see a breakdown of cost. The price of these boxes have gone up. I do have an account. This is VFriends, $800 a box on David Adams. I do have an account with David Adams. I'm not going to log into it right now. But let's say you don't have an account with David Adams and you wanted to buy Prospect Edition. So for me, the boxes are a bit cheaper. I have a gold status account with David Adams, which means I've spent way too much money there. So my boxes are a few dollars cheaper, and I also get an extra 1% off if I want to not have the free gift. You can choose a free gift. I usually do the 1% off. But okay, so we've got, let's just say $110 per box. Sorry, I'm pulling up a calculator here. So you can see. All right. So in a 4-box break, it'll end up being about $440 if my calculator ever loads. All right, so it's about $440. If you have your business license, like we talked about in the previous video, and your resale certificate, all that good stuff, you won't be paying tax. Dave & Adams, it's free 2-day shipping. If you live close enough to New York, that 2-day shipping is 1 day. Like it'll be there the next day if you order early enough. But for me, since I live in Ohio, it's close enough. If I order by like 2 p.m., sometimes even 3 p.m., I'll have my stuff the next day. So if I'm really late in planning my break, or I'm not sure if I want to do something, and then all of a sudden some teams sell, I know I can get product pretty much next day from them. Sometimes you're going to pay more. Dave & Adams being one of the biggest, if not the biggest, wholesaler, card shop, whatever you want to call it. They do have, a lot of times have higher prices. With that said, I did a check on Topps Finest Marvel 97 to do some breaks in the future, and their boxes are actually cheaper than eBay boxes. So it's always smart to shop around. I like Dave & Adams because the more you buy, typically you save, that kind of stuff. But so 4 boxes will cost you $440. Okay? If you divide that by 30 teams before fees, well, it's about $15 a team. Okay? If you take into consideration whatnot fees, $15 times 15.5% is a safe percentage to calculate fees on really most platforms. So 15 minus $2.33. So $12.67 is what you would get if you charge $15 per team. Now $12.67 times 30, $380. You would be down $60. Okay, so obviously you're not going to sell teams for $15 a pop. That's basically, you need to make $15 after fees to break even. Okay. With that said, if you're going to do random team breaks, I mean, for 4 boxes, I guess I would say, what's 20 times 15.5%. You can kind of do this in your head. 10% of 20 is $2, and then half of that would be 5% of $1, so $3 off. But $3.10 would be the more accurate price. So 20 minus $3.10. Okay, $16.90 if you want to subtract that $15 to what you need to break even. You'd be at $1.90 per team times 30 teams, $57. And honestly, there is a Sasuke spot in this break, so you could, in theory, make another $1.90. So about $60 in profit if you charge $20 per team after fees. Not bad. If you can fill up quick and you can do a couple breaks in a day, 60, say do 2 to 3 breaks in a day. Not bad. Not bad. When I do PYTs, I have plenty of teams under the $20 mark for this break. So somebody's going to get a team at $20, not necessarily worth $20. But with that said, the Pirates, or the Athletics, right, in this break, I usually do $50 for a 4-box team, and they sell every time almost immediately. Okay? Because of Nick Kurtz signs, I believe Jacob Wilson signs, so they have terrific names in there. Wilson also has a rookie shield in this product, so it's his rookie card. This is a Kurtz prospect card. Either way, I've hit the Kurtz prospect card and I've sold the base auto for $100. So $50 buy-in if you hit that Kurtz auto, a base auto, it's worth a lot. I've Mizorowski signs. Hot names like Trey Savage, Peyton Tolley, Brandon Sproat, that other guy for the Mets, Sproat, and Why can't I think of the other pitcher for the Mets right now? Well, if you're watching this, you hopefully know who I'm talking about. Carson Bench signs in this, but there's a lot of good names all over, all different teams. Obviously, Bazana's a cover athlete. So, but $60 a spot for 30 teams, $60 in profit rather. After you sell 30 teams at $20 a spot, it's not bad. The problem is, the tough part is, if you're just starting and you're a small seller, even I have struggled on a lot of breaks, is filling your breaks. So you might be selling them at $20 a spot. You might struggle to fill. Now, 4 boxes at $20 a spot is 24 autographs. People might buy in at $20 a spot at a random break. At my PYT break, for 4 boxes, we typically, if all the spots sell, we typically come out with like $100 to $200 in profit. And I typically base my prices on other sellers, like bigger seller prices, so that I can say my prices are whatever the bigger popular sellers are. $100 to $200 in profit. Well, actually, that's going to change now because the boxes are more expensive. So $100 profit now turns into a $60 profit. So we're pretty much the same. Some people like PYT, some people like random. I personally prefer PYT because you can get the team that you want. Don't leave it into the hands of chance as far as what team you get, because you don't want to be hunting for, say, a Paul Skeens Kaboom and pay $20 and end up with the Royals. Royals don't have a bad, they got shields in this product, but that's neither here nor there. So, in order to make a profit, you have to sell your random teams at $20 a spot. Your PYT listing can be different, but in order to make a profit, you got to sell them for $20 a spot. You might sit there for 5 hours. Okay, this breaking when you're small, it's not like a fill every hour and just repeat. This is a full-time gig when you're trying to break, especially if you're going up at like prime time hours. If you have part-time availability and you're good in the morning, you might be all right. If you try to sell on like a Saturday night, you might not fill. All right, that's the biggest risk. There have been days where I've sat for 6 or 7 hours on whatnot, especially when I was smaller. And I ended up having to eat teams so that we could break that day. Most people prefer to break the day that they buy in. Okay, some people will buy in. Like, I set up my teams in advance because of that. And so we hopefully sell some. Like my break that's coming up tomorrow, teams have been in there for a couple days. We've only got one sold right now, and that's the Athletics. So you've gotta plan to spend time, plan to make a small profit, and when you're starting to build, you might have to risk losing money. Okay, I know that doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound like what you want to hear, but if you want to keep building, you got to do that. Now, if you want to farm some followers, do some giveaways. Whatnot has a feature where if you're going to do a giveaway, you can make sure like it's just followers giveaway. So the person basically follows your account to enter the giveaway. That would help you build a little bit. But yeah, it could take a few hours. Some people build their stores for years before they start filling quicker, and some people have their stores built for a long time. It depends on the product. If the product's not good, it could take a while. But that's essential. I just wanted you to see the cost there. $440 to break even. If you have your business license, if you're not paying tax because you have a resale certificate, $440. $20 a team in order to make a $60 profit. Okay, and that's really a $2 profit per team. Okay, now the other thing is, here's Whatnot right now. We'll refresh real quick. These are all the big breakers for the most part. And some of these might be small. This guy's sponsor right here, JG from the back, he's paying, excuse me for lagging there, he's paying extra to be put in that top spot. And he's only got 5 viewers right now. All right. KK Sports, Black Gold Cards, Bargain Hunters, Breaks, Backyard Baseball. Those are all like huge sellers. Some of them run 24 hours a day. And multiple. I mean, look, Bargain Hunter breaks 4, Bargain Hunter breaks 3. Black Gold Cards is sponsored, so they're paying to be top up there. And then they're also down here, Black Gold Sports Cards and sports cards. So these big Throne sports cards are good. I like. They're typically pretty cool. I've purchased from them before. A lot of these places, though, these big streamers, they build account after account. They hire people to sell for them. Like, they will run close to 24 hours a day. Reef Monkey Breaks in Ohio. From what I understand, this is all anecdotal from people who allegedly know the owners, but some of these card places make close to $1 million in profit a month. Okay, but they're big. They have physical shops. They get product at at distributor pricing. They have the employees to run 24 hours a day. They fill every hour. They don't always necessarily do breaks either. Some of them do. One of the hottest things to do right now is to make good repacks. You want to make quality ones, like Filth Bomb Mike does the heater repacks. They're great. I've seen Reef Monkey does like downtown breaks. We can get into the cost of that to see if that's worth doing as a small seller. But repacks right now, if they're good, that's a very profitable business. And actually, a lot of these platforms now have like live rips of mystery packs. Like Drip Shop, I know we just started one. Arena Club was like the first. But don't get caught up in these big sellers and seeing how quick they sell, because it's not comparable. Okay. Even when I look at like some of my favorite sellers, like Always Pulling for You, he's got 15,000 followers, or close to that, and sometimes it takes him hours to fill. I mean, he typically fills, and I think he usually makes a quality profit, but he's very small, very independent. He does it himself. Good guy. Would recommend checking him out. But yeah, comparative him to me even is a big difference. For what a break that might take him 2 hours to fill might take me 7 hours to fill. It's all about building that clientele, making sure that they're happy with you, happy with their product, and make sure that they want to keep coming back. But this page right here is what I really wanted to show you, because you're competing against the biggest of the biggest. So maybe make custom icons. Maybe make something that draws in somebody who's just doom scrolling through whatnot, right? What catches my attention on this page? I don't know, nothing. Pick your player. Okay, I like pick your player. $1 starts. People like to see that. All right, I'm gonna get out of this page here because it's lagging. Okay. So really, ultimately, that's all I wanted to show you. Is that breaking on whatnot's not always the easiest thing to do. Okay. I mean, look. So we're doing a Boys of Summer. A case of Boys of Summer. So David Adams also does breaks. They're on Fanatics Live. $80 a spot. $80 times 30 spots. 80 times 30. $2,400. That's how much it costs. It costs $24.09 a case from them. Okay, so obviously, as they buy from distributors, they buy probably from Panini directly, maybe. $2,400 is the cost of the case retail from Panini. So they're getting the cases at less than that cost, and they're selling them for $80 a spot. Having a big website like this, people will find the break, so they probably have less of an issue filling. But it costs you $24.09 to buy a case from Dave and Adams. You can get a case for cheaper on eBay, taxes included, significantly cheaper. I've gotten boxes for $232 on eBay before taxes. After taxes, add another 20, so $250 maybe a box. So that's $50 a box times 8, $400. You get a whole case for $400, cheap for $2,000. So that'll save you money too. Shop around, check out eBay. We can do that in a different video also. But if you're spending $24.10, and actually this is cheaper if you have, it's cheaper for me than it is if you don't have an account. But let's say you're spending $24.10 divided by 30 teams, and there's an NIL DPL spot in this. For the sake of baseball, 30 teams. So let's say $81 is what you need. So let's multiply that by like 30%. So 81 plus 25, $106 a random spot. And just to do that, 106 minus 17, $89. All right. So you could probably do it a little less, right? Yeah, 81. So that gives you about $88 in profit per team. 89 times 30. Yeah. 2670 minus 2409. $261 in profit. And I mean, granted, that would be a tough sell to sell random spots for over $100. Especially when David Adams is doing it for $80. People can say this guy's doing it for $25 cheaper or $20 cheaper. That's why PYT is helpful, because if somebody wants a cheaper team, have them go get a cheaper team. Let's look at my Boys of Summer listings. Now, there it is. Okay. Now, if you look at the spots here, this is for a half case plus one box of Prospect Edition. Okay, so get the Diamondbacks for 45, the Braves for 50, the Orioles for 65, Red Sox for 80, Cubs for 50, White Sox 45. So these are all the prices for the different teams. I mean, you can get the Angels for 35 and a half case break plus a box of Panini Prospect. The Yankees are 105. Every single one of these teams is $5 more expensive than the regular half case, because I added the box of Panini. And at $5 after the fees, it comes out to be about $120 revenue for the Prospect Edition box, which really only comes at like $110 a box. It's only a $10 profit there. So you can see like all of these spots. Now, people on Whatnot, buyers on Whatnot, will almost always send offers. So take that into consideration when you're making your prices. Some people will send 20 to 30% off with no ill intention. They don't necessarily always realize that you're running on razor thin margins. The margins on this half case aren't razor thin, I don't think. I'd have to go back and check. And 2 teams have sold. I sold 2 teams for the full case when we did the first half of this break. That was the Pirates and the Royals. Royals sold for 25 a half, and then the Pirates sold for 80 a half. And I added the Prospect Edition to this half, so they actually both got those without the Prospect Edition $5 bump, which is, it's not a big deal. And this Christian Campbell patch, jumbo patch auto to 10 is one that we pulled out of the last break. So I like to put cards that either that we've pulled. Well, that if we haven't pulled it, it's not going to be on the screen. I usually use the Paul Skeens Kaboom that we pulled on the Prospect Edition because that's like $1,000 card that hopefully will draw people in. On the current Prospect Edition, I have a Bazana Auto. I'm a big fan of Bazana. You know, we're in Cleveland. But I just wanted to take a 25 minutes or so to show you. Well, this is my loom. Sorry, that's where I record. But yeah, I just wanted to show you, like, these are the costs, the upfront costs of trying to start a card breaking business. You can sell your cards, your singles and stuff and whatnot. That's a different game. But if you want to break on whatnot, this is the cost. Okay. Now, Boys of Summer, I wouldn't recommend breaking. Maybe if you like to do Panini product, buy a box or two or buy a case and split it into mixers. That way people know that they're getting a fresh case. Put them into mixers, kind of spruces up the mixer. We can talk about mixers in a different break, but this is for just like straight case breaks. Now, Whatnot, I believe, has a like a threshold you have to pass as a seller to be able to do breaks, to be allowed to do breaks. People still do breaks when they don't have this. And that's just maintaining high quality seller status, fast enough shipping within 2 days, low defect rate, and basically be a reputable seller. Don't scam people. Don't sully your name. Don't sully the name of the app, which is pretty obvious. So sell those singles if you want to do breaks. Build that clientele. And actually, the reason 3 years in that my breaks are still a little bit slow is that I've only been doing baseball breaks for about a year, and consistently for less than that. And so a good chunk of my thousands of followers were video games or Final Fantasy TCG or Marvel or DC. So very rarely do those overlap as far as customers go. But yeah, so if that's what you want to do, again, I always put my link to apply to be a seller on Whatnot. We both get a little incentive if you use that link and sell. Yeah. So if you have questions, again, leave them in the comments. Please like this video, subscribe. I'm trying to make as realistic a journey to becoming if this is what you want to do, or if you want to make extra money just as a side hustle selling cards. This is my best effort to help you without having you lose a ton of money. All right. Yeah. So good luck. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. Maybe I'll see you on Whatnot. And if not, that's, I get it. But good luck out there. We'll see you again in the next one.